We see just how far Josh will go for Architect, don't ask. And he discovers a new planet, only to find out that this planet is mine!
Damn it!
Well, this and more on this week of episode 151 of NTG Raw!
Ooh, yeah! Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, I am Josh, once again joined by Eric Hunter, the one and of many Eric Hunters, because you have such a common name, you plebe.
I know, right? Tell me about it. If I could change it, I probably wouldn't. So I've got so many things tied to this name now. Can't go.
Social Securities are overrated.
That's
anyway.
one. I'm more worried about the domain that I purchased for 20 years. I paid an arm and a leg for it.
I mean, you could sell it to the porn star.
That's true.
Like,
Which
hey
would
man.
be me.
Oh yeah.
Shifty-eyed dog. Shifty-eyed
Forgot
dog.
about your double life.
Right. Double entendre.
Does a thing by day, porn star by night, podcaster also by night.
Sometimes during the day, depending on the day.
Well, I never get invited to your podcast.
It's true, and you never will. Not with that attitude.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, your mom won't ever either, so.
No, she won't.
Burn. Someone
got
put
too
the
many
burn
stories.
emoji. Someone put the burn emoji in the Twitch chat.
It's too many stories. So,
Anyway.
hey.
Because Eric has like a wife or something happened last week where he couldn't do a thing
It's true.
for the podcast, so that's why we skipped last week. So blame it on him. I hope you all sent, those of you who knew about it, sent hate mail to his wife.
Good. She was very upset.
Good.
She was like, "You are these plebes."
The more ruined, the better. Does your wife know who I am?
No, she has no idea.
Okay. But then she can't hate me yet, so that's a good thing.
She can hate the idea of me, though.
Everyone who I've ever partnered with on a podcast or project similar to this, their significant other, probably 95% of the time, has ended up not liking me
Oh, weird.
for whatever reason. Weird.
Smell funny or something?
Oh, weird. Not surprised at all. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what that says about me.
I mean, there's a reason why I haven't been able to come.
That's true. I just need a break from this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I need a break to go to work. I'd rather work.
Do work things, pay
Yeah.
bills.
I'd rather do that. Well, what's happened over the past couple of weeks that you're willing
Games?
to tell us about? You have a couple games that you were telling me about. One that
True.
sucked and one that
I
didn't.
played a great game that I really enjoyed that I want to talk about. It's called The Fall. Came out in 2014. I'm sure you probably talked about it on the show. Far
Did I?
before me.
Did I?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Check out some show notes. The Fall's good. The Fall is about a...
We did a long time ago.
I figured. Catch up on everybody. The Fall is about a suit that is basically a robot who's trying to protect its pilot,
What episode was that?
or the person inside of it is injured. So they arrive at this weird testing facility, a lab, and it goes through this very strange series of events. It's a side-scrolling puzzle game.
For those of you that are interested in seeing the whole review feature thing of it on our show, it was
Yes.
It was all the way back on episode 11.
Damn.
Episode 11, November 24th, 2014 is when it was posted
That's
on
how
the
long
website.
it took me to play this fucking game.
There's and also there's a sequel.
Yeah, and they're working on a trilogy of apparently. So there's a third one that's supposed to be coming out. The sequel just came out this past February, I believe, and I look forward to playing it. But the game's very narrative driven. The narrative is very well written. The voice acting is pretty out of this world.
Thank you.
You're not. The plot
What if
development's
I
really
was?
good. Oh, were you?
What? No.
Well, I didn't think so. I didn't hear any Josh-isms. in the
Well,
game,
I
so
mean, part of my job is to change my voice, so you never know.
yeah, but you still sound.
Yeah, but you suck.
I'm alright with that. Anyway, great game. Highly recommended. Probably not to play on a controller, just because the controls are wonky as shit on a Nintendo Switch. And it kind of detaches you away from the game. That's what's funny about it, is like the issues I have with the game are the actual gameplay aspects.
Mm.
So like the actual like jumping around and shooting is like, God, it's like straight trash bag. It's really bad. I think one of the things that like bugs me the most is, so for those who don't know, obviously any normal modern controller now has dual analog sticks, as does the Switch. And if you want to switch from, no pun intended, from the flashlight to actually firing the gun, you have to press in the right analog stick to switch back and forth, which is weird because the right bumper is not used. Why you wouldn't put that just on the bumper to switch between those two modes of the gun just blows my mind.
It probably has something to do with the port, though. I mean, like, because this came out well before the Switch did.
Sure.
So they probably. I mean, it's probably not that. I mean,
differently?
yeah, not that they couldn't map it differently, but I feel like that sounds like maybe some laziness in the port.
There it is.
But I played it on
yeah.
PC, so.
Yeah, I'm sure that the PC is probably going to be better, because there's some, I don't know, like, again, it's the gameplay aspects, like the actual gameplay mechanics of this game is what sucks. Like the running it around, the shooting, just trying to move up and down steps is feels like I'm doing laundry. But it is such a small part compared to the rest of the game that is just amazing. The rest of the game is just so good. It's like part of me feels like I'd rather read this as a book or like a comic book or something, so I can get more insight as to what's going on, because a lot of it is so they don't dive too much into the lore, just because obviously it's a game and they're trying to keep it fast paced and they want to keep it moving, keep you interested. So sometimes the lore kind of like can pull you aside and kind of slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
That's why environmental storytelling is cool.
Yes, I agree. This does none of that.
Holly Vance said in the chat that you were very, very good, and he would have given you a bigger role if he knew that you were that good.
What does that mean?
In his game jam game.
I was perfectly happy playing the clerk. So thank you, Vance.
By the way, I'll point that out now, that Vance, Holly in the chat, Vance, who runs Indie Fireside, did a game jam game that featured myself and Eric and several others voice acting in it, and did a really good job. I thought it was a really cool concept. You should go check it out. It's on Game Jolt. It is Game Jolt right now, Itch.io.
Yeah,
okay. It's on Game Jolt, so go check it out. It's for free.
You should, and you should download the one that has the voice acting in it.
Yes.
That is definitely the better version of the game.
I guess that one wasn't allowed to be judged, but I would definitely suggest the voice acting to get your second dose of Josh and Eric.
Me.
Oh, just Eric, I guess. Okay.
Just me. So yeah, highly recommend The Fall. Very good. Look forward to playing the sequel. If I ever get around to playing it. I also played a game that I wasn't allowed to talk about last week that I can talk about this week that I did not enjoy very much.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Smoke and the Sacrifice. It's
Okay.
an action RPG story-based narrative game. The story's kind of cool. It's about the society that exists where I'm not sure if it's the firstborn or just newborns. They have to go through some sort of sacrificial ritual, and they get what they are assumed as to being sacrificed to the gods, and we're talking babies, like a couple of months old. And the story takes place about a woman who has a child, and the child has to be, subjected to the sacrifice, and she's kind of weary about it. She doesn't feel too sure about it, but she does it, and then shit comes down, and they start getting attacked by like these crazy creatures. So the whole idea of the sacrifice, this ritual, is to stop these creatures from coming in and taking over the land and trying to kill them. So she's kind of like weary to it, and then she meets a strange traveler, and the traveler's like, "Oh, it's not what you believe," and then suddenly she's on the other side where the quote-unquote children go, so they don't actually get sacrificed and killed. They actually just get transported to like a different realm.
Mm-hmm.
So she ties into this realm. So that all of that stuff is great. It's very well done. Like the visual aspect is very cool. The game just is not good. Like, it's not what you would consider. I don't know. Like, I feel like if I had to describe the combat in this action RPG, it would be like if I was trying to slap you through this monitor right now.
Okay.
That's what it feels like. Like, it's just very unsatisfactory. There's a cool crafting system in it where you have to collect items and then, to build like a lantern or a torch or a sword or something like that. But everything is degrading. Even if you're not using it, it just goes bad. So you have to keep track of all that stuff.
You know what game I think you would like? For
say
whatever.
This every episode, and
Well,
it's always wrong.
Is it because you've probably never tried any of the games I've told you to check out?
I disagree.
Don't
Starve?
False news. No.
Because that's what it reminds me of. I feel like it's a narrative-driven Don't Starve.
Really?
And
Well, I was gonna, for whatever reason, the way you described it reminded me of the Count Lucanor.
do not know what that is.
And it's a hidden gem in my opinion. We talked about it a while ago.
What?
And
Gem.
I really like the game. I mean, there's a few things to it that I could probably like pick on, but overall, there's no crafting in it. It's just the narrative part that reminds me.
I love narrative-based games.
I think you would enjoy it. Why is the music sounds like it's getting louder and louder? Anyway, so yeah, today was an interesting day. I mean, I've been running behind all day and just trying to get things done. I'm like trying to start a new project to get some voice acting juice out and things like that. But my daughter had her, I guess you call it, kindergarten graduation ceremony today, so that was cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my first time. It's my first because
that?
they put on a performance, so it was my first time sitting in an auditorium, like being that parent, like with their phone,
Nice. Very cool.
trying to see everything. So that
That's
was
good.
cool. And then as soon as we got home from that, I walk up the stairs about to open the door, and my freaking upstairs neighbor is laying on the ground on the landing in the hallway outside my door because I guess he lost feeling in his legs and just couldn't move. I have no idea how long he was there for, but he scared me because I was like opening the door and he's like, Josh. I was like, huh, what the fuck? And I just see his feet sticking out from behind like the banisters because like the stairs kind of like loop up in a spiral. So that was interesting, and I had to call an ambulance. And from that point forward, everything was just kind of like way behind because I was trying to get some other things done, and that made me late for other things, and it was just not that I'm blaming him. I'm just saying that's what happened. So
Sounds like you're blaming it.
well,
No.
I'll visit him in the hospital and pull his IV cord out. He wasn't like dying. There was just something wrong with his legs. I don't know. As far as I know, he was
It's like the wedding thing where it's like, oh, if you're a best man, just like, bend your legs, don't stand straight, because if you lock your legs, you'll pass out, that kind of thing.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not a little bitch. But it took the ambulance, by the way, like 20. Who are you talking to?
Worry about it.
20 minutes to get here because they went to the wrong fucking address. I'm like, thank God he wasn't like immediately dying or anything like that. Like,
Right, yeah.
because because I'm on south of my street, and they went to the north part, and they were like, the building that you talked to us about is condemned. I'm like, well, I was unaware of that because I'm still here.
Yeah, like how would you know?
Because I was standing outside.
Giant signs.
I don't know. So that was fun. Anyway, you know what else is
Nice.
fun? That'll give you a little boost in case you need to go to the hospital. An Indie News injection.
I don't want to go to the hospital. Oh my god.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week, Eric rubs his nipples, and we're just going to watch that for a half hour. Oh, why'd you stop?
Stop.
I guess we'll move on to the Indie News injection. First thing we're going to be talking about is Apple rejects Steam Link from their store.
What?
You seem shocked.
I'm not.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I made mention to it on the last episode when they're like, "Oh, blah 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 blah. This app's coming out." And I'm like, I think Apple's gonna say okay to this. But all right, we'll see.
For those of you who don't know, did you add this link? Because I meant to add it. I think you just beat me to
added
it.
it.
Okay,
So
go ahead then. You can
It's
talk.
fine. So on the last episode we talked about Steam was releasing a Steam Link app that allows you to play games from your Steam account on your phone, or you could wire it to a TV or whatever you want to do with it. I don't remember what all the ins and outs.
Marriott.
Sure.
Turn it into a body pillow.
And it was
bring
already good for Android, and the article claimed that Apple said yes, this is okay, and then Apple turned around and was like, you know what, this is not okay, we're going to cut this right now. And the reason that they cut it is because in the article it doesn't deem why, but then obviously more news came out later, and it's the whole idea of there being a store within a store. They don't want to host an app on their app store that allows you to purchase or buy other apps through that app. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Okay, so like they want all of the money. That's really what it comes down to. And since Steam is a marketplace that has apps that you can download and buy, it goes against their terms of service. They claim that they're working with Steam to make this work, but at the end of the day, Steam's
How's that going to work? Because
impossible. No, they're just saying that just to appease the fans. So it's like,
well, I don't know. Apple's always the one that's pissing everyone off all the goddamn time.
yeah, they have all the money, they can do it.
Well, I mean, I think in recent years, and by recent I mean like very recent, I feel like Apple, people are finally getting it through their fucking thick heads. And I'm sorry if you're an Apple fanboy or fangirl, but that Apple is not better than anything else, and you're literally just paying double the price for a name.
Yep.
The only thing that I would say that it could potentially be called better for is maybe like things like animation, like if you're an artist or something like that.
Sure.
They just tend to be
Just
more
to
user-friendly for
support
that. But that's it. And even that, and you're still getting ripped off as far as price goes. And, it's just, and Android is finally making, Google is finally being like, hey, we've been legit since the Galaxy, the first Galaxy came out. You should probably give us a chance. And people are finally, turning to Android. I've never had, the last Apple product I've ever had was like an iPod Shuffle. So, and I take pride in that.
Is it good? Yeah.
The Shuffle, man, they don't even make them anymore. It's one of those little
I sure don't.
They were like the size of a $50.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
There's no screen or anything. You just
It was good. It was good for working out though, because you could clip it to your shirt or whatever.
Oh yeah, you just do your thing.
Yeah. So fuck you, Apple. As
I just thought
as
it was
Vance
funny
says in the chat.
because I was like, oh, this isn't going to go well, and it never does. It's like anything else; it just never goes well. So
Vance said, Apple hasn't invented anything that they have been credited with since 1989. They've only bought inventions.
also true. Also true.
And he also says, no! Apple is not better for artists. That was their marketing campaign in the late 90s that has stuck with everyone, but it has never been true. I mean, I'm not doubting that they've marketed the hell out of that. God damn, why is this music so loud all of a sudden?
Man, I don't hear anything. So.
Turning it down some. Hopefully it comes through on the recording. But anyway, I I don't doubt that they've marketed it, but for my uses and from animators that I've talked to, like Pro Tools and things like that, again, extremely overpriced, tend to be more user friendly than say Adobe. But because I can't afford a fucking Apple, I've always used Adobe, and at this point I just learned to deal with it. And also, Adobe is also overpriced. So I mean, there's that.
Oh yeah, Adobe's fucking crazy expensive.
Anyway, next up.
Just thought it was funny. It's one of those things.
Well, you know what else is not funny?
My
I almost said was funny, and then I saw what was coming next. So
yeah, no, it's not funny.
Never mind, not funny. Unfortunately, Total Biscuit, or John Bain, aka Total Biscuit, if you haven't heard yet, has passed away from cancer. He's been battling that for what, like 7 years?
I think he only announced he had cancer maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, but he had it for a few years before that, I think.
Yeah.
But he recently passed away at the age of 33.
Ugh.
And I think he had was it colon cancer? Something.
Yeah.
It was bowel cancer, I think is just generalized as. But it had moved to, I think, his liver and spine, I believe. Because he went, I don't know if it was remission necessarily, but it seemed like they had gotten it under control, and they were like, oh, if this is looking good, you're going to be fine. And then all of a sudden that
came back like double time.
Yeah, and it was like super aggressive, and all he really had left was like certain experimental things, and just like a couple months ago, he had announced he was part-time retiring from YouTube. He was just going to do his podcast and a few other things.
Yeah.
Because of it. So, that sucks. And the biggest reason that we're mentioning on this show, I mean, a lot of people disagreed with him, but I think just about everyone respected him as a critic.
Yeah, for me personally, like, I didn't agree with probably 80% of the shit that he said, but I always supported him because he was always a big proponent of trying to break the system because the system is wrong, the system's bad, the system doesn't work, and he always was trying to, especially on Steam as his curator page, like he always tried to make sure that there was a separation between people who were paying him to advertise things and then just those developers that needed to be seen. Obviously he's British, so I enjoyed his accent.
His snarky Britishism.
Yeah, one of his series was the what the fuck is this? WTF is this? Like, that was always one of my favorite ones because it was, it was at least once a week or once every other week. Like, it would show up and like, yeah, what the fuck is that? Like, so.
That was probably his WTF series was probably his most popular one. When he was at his prime on YouTube, and not that he ever went out of his prime, but like when he reached that apex. But yeah, he. The biggest reason that we're putting on the show too is that as far as indie games are concerned, he really helped a lot of indie games reach that spotlight and become successful through that WTF series, especially.
Yeah.
Although I'd like to say that Indie Game Riot did get the scoop on a couple of games before he did, like Hand of Fate. Yeah, that was us.
I didn't know it was a contest. Was it a contest?
Yeah, I'm.
You lost.
I am competing against someone who just recently faced.
Somebody who just recently passed away from cancer. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Stay classy, RDR. So.
Classy.
But yeah, he really helped out indie games a lot, and he was talking about being a proponent. He was a proponent for independent development, and because it was part of that anti-establishment thought process too, that he had kind of had that streak of because indies weren't controlled by the man kind of thing. So I think he especially appreciated that and ended up putting a lot of games, or at least helped put a lot of games on the map. So it's a loss for the industry all around, so that sucks. And I hope his wife Jenna is doing well, who I believe she's going to continue his podcast and a few other of his projects.
Oh, really? Cool.
Because that was one of his wishes, before he passed away, was that she would continue his podcast and some other things. Because she was already like helping him produce it,
Okay.
and things
I
like
was gonna
that.
say, God, if it was like my situation, my wife has no fucking clue what
No.
I do.
No, yeah, she does.
What's it called?
She does YouTube videos occasionally, but she was more on the back end of things that help in helping him do stuff.
Gotcha.
So I think she's going to take that over, once she's out of the heavy grieving period. Which, thankfully for myself, I don't know how long that takes, but we'll see. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But don't go
Tough.
unsubscribing or anything like that. There's still content to be had. And of course, he has friends like Jesse Cox and Krendor and people like that who are going to help as well. So, something else that kind of sucks, not as bad, but still sucks, is that Agony, which has recently released, and we've talked about it back in a Peep Show, I believe. I did receive a key for this. I'm terrified to try it because it's extremely gory, disturbing.
Yep.
I mean, for instance, there was a gameplay video months ago that I saw, but basically you were what it seemed like required to crush babies, and pulverize them.
I did not see that.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Interesting.
So that was upsetting to watch. But this game was hit with the adult rating by the ESRB / whatever other countries are. I forget what they're called in like UK and Australia and all that stuff. But they were hit with the adult rating.
Whatever.
And the adult rating for video games is like it's not going to get sold anywhere, essentially, except for on their own website. So in order to prevent that from happening, they had to cut back and basically create a more censored version to get the what is it? It's not an R rating because it's not a movie, but the equivalent of the R rating.
What would that be?
I forget what it is. It's mature.
Like 17 plus or whatever?
It's called mature, is what it is.
Oh, is it just mature?
I believe. But anyway, the point is that they had to cut it back and censor it, and they were going. And the reason I put this in the news is because they were going to release an uncensored patch and kind of give an option to turn that on,
Sure.
because there's multiple endings in this, and some of those endings I guess had particularly bad, not bad as in like sucky, but bad as in like oh my god, imagery.
This is bad. Right.
And it was supposed to be an option that you could turn on, but then because of how asinine the rules are for the ESRB and things like that, they were like, nope, that's still going to give you an adult rating. So instead, they're going to then release it on like YouTube channels. Just saying like this is what it would have been if it were not for the censorship. And it's kind of the same. It's like it's a little bit stupider for movies. Like there were movies, I forget what it was, but there were movies that had the what's above the R rating. I forget what it's called, but
NC-17.
Yeah, they had that rating, and ended up
drop it back.
They had to cut it back to an R rating, and then they put those things that made them NC-17 into like Blu-ray extras.
Yeah, it became
like
an unrated version of the movie.
And it's like it's still on the movie, but it's just separated from the actual movie, so it doesn't count. The rules are stupid. And again, pretty much, I mean, IGR in general, I never really talked about it with you, Eric, but a whole lot. But we've been pretty big proponents of free speech and like freedom of expression, and whether you agree with it or not, it's censorship sucks. And a game about being in hell with demons, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's
hell.
Yeah.
I mean, like once you drop it back, then you have Doom, and Doom is gory, but Doom is still Doom, and you know what I mean? Like,
right?
Like this was going for like this is fucking horrifying. But that said, I think you guys should still play Agony if you're a horror fan and not squeamish. Ouch, because it's still like the mechanics are still horrifying, and as I said, they call it old school, but old school open-ended. So again, there's multiple endings, and you can it's an open world instead of being a linear horror game. So I think that you can do basically you do whatever things in different orders, and enemies roam and that sort of stuff. It's not hallways and different sections of a map. It's just you're going.
Yeah.
And it talks about in some of the patch notes that I got how just like things to do to survive. Like he gave you tips, and I'm like, those tips make me afraid to even
to play your game.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. But like the only way I feel like I can play this is on a live stream, which maybe I will someday. Although I'm afraid that'll get me banned because there were tits in this. There were boobies. I don't know about anything else, but there were boobies, and I don't know how that affects with Twitch.
You'll have to censor those boobies.
I can't do that live. So
you don't have a live booby censor?
No, I don't. I'm not sure how that works.
You need to invest in one.
So, yeah, I don't know if that's even a thing. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about censorship or anything before we move
on? PUBG still in Fortnite.
I thought they were doing that like a long time ago.
It's official now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've officially...
I'm surprised they haven't done that before. I mean, they're not the first Battle Royale game ever, but they're the first one to make it popular.
Well, it's the same bullshit that we were talking about with Banner Saga. They're suing in perpetuity to protect their copyright. So they haven't really infringed on anything per se. They're doing it to protect their copyright. So
yeah, well, that is the thing too. I mean, as much as I like to shit on King,
right.
There is a precedent for it because I mean, like, you lose your copyright if you don't protect it, even if it's stupid. So it's almost like even going after someone like that for something as stupid as that is almost like re-upping your copyright. That's what it seems like. You're like, okay, we're good. We sued someone random. Can we go now? It's kind of what it is. Talk about asinine rules.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care for those games anyway. It's one time.
Yeah, I mean Fortnite's alright, but
isn't it alright?
Whatever.
Okay.
I don't take it as seriously as other people. You know what? We should take seriously though.
Start a riot.
Thank you. This week on Stargate. Were you doing the owl from the Tootsie Pop commercial?
No.
So that's why I sound myself. That's why I sound like to myself when I do that.
It wasn't anything like that.
All right. Well, this week on Starting the Riot, we're talking about Far Lone Sails. Good. Way to sync up. By Okomotive is what we're going with.
Sure.
What's really cool, it's kind of a FTL-like game where there's a roguelike element to it where you have this ship and that you're kind of adding onto the ship and you have to manage it and all that sort of stuff and make your way through the game like a roguelike wants you to do.
God, it's steampunk, like, coming out of your ears.
And yeah, you're on a land ship. Mad Max-esque desert landscape.
Well, go back. Mad Mask?
Mad Mask. Well, now I kind of want it to be, because now I'm imagining Jim Carrey's The Mask in Mad Max universe.
There it is.
And you know what? That would probably fit really well.
Boss. No, hold on.
Like, as eccentric as the characters are in Mad Max, I could imagine The Mask being a part of that. Like, you could see him riding on the front of the thing, playing the guitar, shooting flames out.
Saying smoking?
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently a Mad Mask is a Team Fortress 2 skin, so it's over. We can't talk about it anymore.
Well,
let's go.
Fuck.
Continue, please.
Far Lone Sails is one of those cool games, and they're calling it a vehicle adventure game. In a unique vehicle, you travel across a dried-out ocean following the tracks of a once thriving civilization. Through an array of roadblocks and through hazardous weather, you need to keep your vessel going. Where will this journey take you? Are you the last of your kind? So, of course, there's a little bit of a mysteriousness to it as far as you're discovering things along the way about your origins or what's going on in the world. And we talk about environmental storytelling. And as subtle as it is in this game, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's not subtle in this way, but it's just the start off is the fact that it's in the fucking desert riding a land ship through various ruins and such
Right.
as part of it. So it's cool. I like the mystique.
I like the aesthetics. Like, there's not a whole lot of games like this anymore. Like, I feel like games have kind of, like, they used to be this dark and gritty, and now they're shifting to kind of, like, bright and sunshiny and, like, rounded. So anytime, like, you find a dark and gritty game now, it's like, oh, like, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It's cool.
You think so? I feel like there's a lot of dark and gritty games, and there's not enough.
No, I feel like everything's
cheery
going
ones.
to bright and cheery now.
Well, I guess maybe you could argue that's taken a turn with all the like the passive games, like Stardew
Sure.
Valley and all that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
the aesthetic reminds me of just because of the gray, black and gray tones with like the silhouette-ishness of it reminds me of like games like Limbo. But the gameplay mechanics are obviously nothing like Limbo. I'm just saying from the look, 2D side-scrolling sort of thing. And there are parts of the game, or a lot of the game, where it's not silhouette. It's not in the dark. There's like a lot of whitewash. Like you can see some screenshots on the website if you go to far-game.com, and they actually, I mean, as muted as the colors are, they make it really beautiful. And I'm surprised. Like there's between like I said, there's like a whitewashed area that just looks really cool. Reminds me of the Arctic. The way it looks. There's also, sorry, things vibrating. There's like an image. I'm seeing an image of because I didn't finish the game, but there's an image of like a lightning bolt striking the land boat, which is really cool looking. There's even one where you're kind of going across this desert, and there's like this slightly red sunset behind, which is really pretty looking. I don't know. I like it a lot. And there's like some action sequences that kind of happen. There's like meteors falling and you have to protect yourself, and I don't know. It's just really this game hasn't gotten a lot of press either, as far as I know.
Say it's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, as far as I know, it hasn't. I'm surprised. It's just, I mean, it's a good game all around. Pretty to look at, nice soundtrack, and I mean, there's not a whole lot to nitpick with.
That's what happens, man.
You said it was $15.
$14.99.
$14.99 on Steam.
$14.99
I can also find it on GOG in Humble.
On the Steam. You want Steam?
Steam.
Steam. Yes.
Name that accent, and I'll give you a game.
Name that accent?
I don't even know what accent that is, so no one's gonna win.
Indian, maybe?
Oh, they're inside right now in the gameplay. I forgot about this. They're inside like a factory, which I really like how the factory is. And there's like a storm going on outside. Super, like talk about atmospheric, man. They did a really good job with that. The only thing that doesn't match, I'm not sure how I feel about it, is the character model.
Okay.
It reminds me of like it's like a fucking.
It's kind of like a Chirby.
Like a Keebler elf.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Maybe it explains
You see this
itself, but
character and you're looking at a mirror. Yeah, I get it.
It doesn't fit in with the aesthetic of the game, but maybe that explains itself through the story as you go.
Probably not.
Maybe.
I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna bet money right now. It's gonna be a
Wow.
big fat no. It's just
Ye
gonna
of
be like
little faith.
keep shooting your Indian Russian accent at me.
Was that a
Right.
Russian accent?
Why not?
Sure, we'll go with
It's
that.
all right. Fine. It's fine.
You can also buy the digital art book and the soundtrack if you're interested, which you can get as like DLCs on Steam and like as a bundle with the DLCs.
Perfect DLCs. Those are DLCs that you should be offering your the people who
Things
think-
that don't lock gameplay behind walls.
Well, and it's shit that people actually want to. The ones who do pay for it are the ones who really, really want it.
Yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I mean? It's not like you're not spending.
And it doesn't
money
cost.
that-
Yeah, it doesn't cost like extra money to produce it because it's already in the game.
Right.
The art and the. Yeah, I mean, you already did the art for the game. The music's already in the game. They just have it separate.
Right.
So, I mean, it's always a good idea.
That, and I always look at it like you're not going to get that person who's going to pay for your DLC for whatever reason, and then, oh, I spent this much money for DLC, and this is what I got. This is horseshit. Like, the person already always knows what they're going to get. Like, they're not going to arbitrarily just spend that money hoping that it ends up being something else. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I do have to say, if you have a beautiful game, and you go to a con, and I know it's expensive sometimes to get prints done, especially if you have to get them like in a big bundle. But I fucking love physical prints of game art. Like I have a collection. I don't know how well you can see stuff over here on the shelf, but I have a collection of. It's not just indie games, but I try and collect indie game paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even if it's not like indie companies, like I have this Hello Neighbor pop vinyl.
Nice.
I have like another Five Nights at Freddy's, and there's some stuff for Bendy and the Ink Machine that I want to get, and Cuphead that I want to get. But stuff like that. I love physical paraphernalia for indie games, and I think a lot of people do too. It does tend to be expensive because it's expensive for you to make, but if you can, it'd be awesome.
There's always an audience or something like that.
Yeah. Even if it's like I've heard, I think it was the Edmund McMullen and his wife. His wife used to hand make plushies before they were like
Isaac
rich.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was always really cool too. So if you have that talent, or someone that does and is willing to do that, I'd buy it.
Even if you don't, find a local artist and then figure
Yeah.
out some sort of percentage base.
That's
it's
Etsy.
there's people
right
out there. Yeah, there's people out there who are looking for work.
Yeah, you can
Just
probably
like
get a
you
good
are.
deal from Etsy.
Yeah.
If I partner up with someone who knows how to
That's
do it, and
perfect.
they just take like a portion of it.
Learn to network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other comments about Far Lone Sales
I look forward
Okamoto?
to playing.
You look forward to playing all games that we talk about, even when you don't look forward to playing them.
That's not true.
That said, I think you are telling the truth about this one. You know what else you like?
Us Peep Show.
Yeah, sure. Yes, Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on Peep Show, we're talking about Parkitect. Did you just do a trumpet? Parkitect by Texel Raptor. You might say to yourself, this looks like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and you'd be right. Obviously, heavily influenced by Roller Coaster Tycoon. They actually... Sorry about that. OBS decided to crash, so that's going to be a weird edit. But anyway, what was I saying?
Something about Coaster.
Planet Coaster. Yes. So, Planet Coaster obviously was another game that recently came out, similar to. I think it's every time the song switches over, the music goes back up. Everything's going fucking wrong. Christ. So, Planet Coaster is very much you focus on the building
Coasters.
part of the park, and
Right.
not so much the management. There is management aspects to it, but it's literally down to piece by piece you can build the park in
Sure.
Planet Coaster, which is cool for people who are into that. I've seen some cool stuff in Planet Coaster. But what I really liked about the Roller Tycoon games is the Tycoon part of it, where you're managing it. And it's cool to make your own park and set it up how you want, but have to micromanage every single little piece is not my thing personally. And this really seemed like they took Roller Coaster Tycoon, focused on the management and how that played, and updated the graphics. The graphics are still they made them
Cartoony.
probably purposefully 90s PC, but smoother. It's like the 2018 60 frames per second type thing.
Right.
And they added small things I don't know if you noticed, but when they put the street lamps down, it wiggled when you put it down on the ground. As if to say, oh, it's stuck in the ground.
That's what you call game feel.
There you go. That's the technical jargon from our master game developer, Eric Hunter.
How's it going?
So I like the fact that they're doing it, and they're taking it. They're not shying away from the fact that this is we're pretending we're redoing this genre with our own feel or whatever. But they're instead taking what they loved about the classic and making it modernized, making it better, because classics weren't perfect or anything like that. It's just
Sure. Well, no, it looks like it's something that would be in addition to.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you like this, then this is in addition to that. You would like this as well.
And we haven't done our new thing where we've taken a Steam review and shit all over the person who reviewed them.
That's true. We haven't.
But I will say that Steam reviews on this one are surprisingly positive. Because a lot of times when a game is compared to a classic, like a beloved classic, people get all fucking like, oh, fucking, no, it's just a copy, it's not good. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is just like what I loved about Roller Coaster Tycoon, but better.
So I can be that person. Do you want me to be that Steam review?
No. I mean, you can if you want to, but
No, that's all right.
but I want you to find someone to shit on. That can be your
Sure.
that can be your job
Okay.
from now
That's
on.
my job now, everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
From now on,
That's my job is to find these poor helpless saps on Steam who are just trying to review a game. We're just gonna shit on them.
well,
That's my
see,
job
there's
now.
the key word, trying.
Trying. It's true.
Fucking
very-
plebes.
It's very upsetting. Here's my hiccup.
Okay.
So, here's my hiccup in general about these games.
Mhm.
Is I want to do things in stages. So I want to build the park and then let people experience the park
Right.
in stages. I don't
Okay.
want to build the park while everybody's experiencing it as I'm building it. Does that make sense?
You can do it that way. It's just that you run out of money. Although there's usually a mode
Sure.
where you have infinite money. Like Roller Coaster Tycoon
Right.
had these cheats that you could put in.
You know what I mean? You know, like I feel like I want to be able to. That was one of the things I liked about The Sims. Is like I could take my time and
Right.
build while the game was paused, while I had money,
Right.
obviously, and build where I feel like it, and then hit play and see the contraption run and see how well it did.
Well, you can do that in these games, though, is what I'm saying. And actually, what's cool with Roller Coaster Tycoon, if you did that, you could do that theoretically, and then. But what would happen, I think, is that you'd watch people experiencing it, and then you'd be like, okay, it runs itself, so why am I playing
Sure.
this game anymore?
Right.
What's cool about this is that they added to the management aspect of it, like, so you have to like control. Where was it? I was reading it just recently. You have to like control inventory, for instance, because popularity of certain items go up and down. There are events that happen randomly, or I don't know if they're randomly, but there are events that happen that people might want to ride a certain ride over another, or there's advertising
okay.
wars and with other parks and things breaking down and et cetera, that keep it fresh. So if you wanted to do it that way, you could just theoretically pause the game, build what you want to build, or you don't even have to pause it because you can keep your park closed. Build what you want to build, and then open it up, let people do whatever they need to do, and then
Right.
things will happen while that's going on. So that way you feel like, you're not feeling that feeling of like, why am I still playing this when it's just running itself?
Sure.
Which is what I think is really cool about this, just how they made it deeper in the management aspect of it.
Here's my other hangup.
Okay.
This was a Kickstarter project.
Yeah.
Game was supposed to be out and done in August of 2015.
2015.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
70 grand. So not a terribly amount of money. I mean, a lot of money
Well,
to me.
I will say at
Right.
least it's out, even if in early access. I mean, there's always still the chance of being abandoned,
Sure.
which then leads to like legal issues. But I don't think I was talking to Zed, who's the game lawyer who now works for an actual company, a gaming studio.
Okay.
That I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say or not, but
I wouldn't.
basically, she was saying that there was going to be a precedent set, and I forget what the game was, that promised all these things through their Kickstarter, and it was up in Seattle or in Washington somewhere, where they were going to get sued for not. There was going to be a class action lawsuit for not, following through with what they said was going to happen.
Right.
To the people who were investing in it, and I think they ended up settling or something like that. So there was no precedent set. But I feel like it's just going to take one of these times that someone's going to just
What
shit the
big
bed.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what it's gonna be?
What's that?
Star Citizen.
Well, at this point, they'll be able to afford the lawsuit, so...
Yeah, they just released a fucking $20,000 DLC a couple days ago.
For fuck's sake, holy shit.
Yeah. Like,
How long has that been in... I don't even want to think about it. It's definitely been since
10 years.
2012.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
One other thing about Parkitect that I appreciated is that they have their own feel to it, where it's fun. It's not just about business. There's for instance, there's their most recent trailer. They call it the Big Brother trailer, where it's like this announcer guy, like, come on down to Parkitect, where you can ride these rides and blah blah blah. And then it goes into, because one of the other things is like being able to tell what people are thinking about your rides and basically reading their thoughts. So it goes into this joke of like Big Brother and like using gamma radiation to determine, you know, how they feel towards different things and all that sort of stuff, and how, you know, gamma radiation.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
they're
that,
not
like,
taking themselves seriously.
Yeah. It's a fun game, and they know what it's going to be. And by the way, for those who want to make the park look nice, because what you're seeing right now is like they just started the park. Obviously, it's empty. There's not a whole lot to look at. But if you are someone who wants to make it look beautiful, you can do that. You know, it's not going to look as realistic as like Planet Coaster, as far as like the rides and the scenery goes. But in its own aesthetic, you can make it look very, very nice. So, any other hang-ups about Parkitect or anything? Other thoughts?
I found your review if you want it.
What's that? Okay, go ahead. What's the review?
The review is from a user, Saline Tillium.
Okay.
Saline?
Someone
Saline?
tweet Saline Tillium and tell
So
them
talking shit about him.
Tell them we're talking shit about them.
Not recommended.
That's the thing now.
0.3 hours on record. Here's the review. I have RCT, RCT2, and 3. Don't bother with this. Wasted my money. It is nothing more than an RCT ripoff. It does play as easy as either. With games like RCT Series and Planet Coaster out there, why bother with this?
Wow, that was classic right there. That was classic shitty Steam review, where it goes from someone with very little time in it to comparing it to an old classic, like I mentioned before, to devolving into something nonsensical, like a Trump tweet.
So here's my favorite though, is that this user has 49 games in their account, or 49 products in their account, and they have one review, and it's this game. So
and they must have felt strongly about it.
That's what I'm saying. So of the 40 other games they have, this is the one that really pissed them off enough to be like, you know what? I'm going to call Gabe. Hey, Mr. Newell, this is some more shit.
It's those people that have that one review that would send like death threats,
right,
over something as stupid as that.
Yep,
that's funny.
There you go.
So someone get in contact with this person. Let them know Indie Game Riot is talking shit on them. That's the new thing we're gonna do. I'm dead serious about that. That's a new weekly feature to the show. Shitting on shit. I'm totally serious. Totally serious.
Put it in the show notes.
All right, yeah, we should do that from now on. Like I said, you can find, out of the games that we have, you can find one person that just has a shitty review.
Or at least.
And then we can shittily review them.
Shittily
review their shittily review. Good. Well, you know what's not a shittily review?
I don't even know.
Going mobile.
Oh.
This week on Going Mobile, we're talking about a game called A Planet of Mine. A Planet of Mine is, of course, a mobile game by Tuesday Quest, where you manage. It's like a planet management sim, I guess.
Sure.
Kind of with some strategy involved. Basically, you're kind of like you're managing your planet, but also trying to rule the system that you are in. You have to explore. You have to like take over other
resources.
planets. You have to exploit the planet, so you're
Yeah.
like, a terrible alien supreme ruler, I guess. That's what it kind of reminds me of. And I believe it's procedurally generated as well
Mhm.
when you play. There are the factions that you play in are all animal based. There's 16 of them, is what I'm reading. It is real time, so not turn based. I'm not sure if you care about that or not, but in case you do, there are like 60 different buildings that you can create on these planets to upgrade. You can see on the gameplay, it's kind of like tile based on the planet. And there are also multiple different modes and challenges that you can play in. So there's a lot of replayability. And by the way, this is free on Android. At least. I'm not sure about iOS. I didn't check that, but
It's free on iOS as well.
it is free. So, which is pretty impressive for such a large game, I gotta say. In-app purchases, of course, and I'm not sure. I forget if there was ads in this. I played a lot of games on phone.
I'm sure there is.
I forget. But anyway,
It kind of has to be, don't you think?
it depends on how much they make on the in-app purchases. You never know. So, what animal faction would you choose?
Chicken.
I knew you would
Mainly
guess
just
chicken.
so you could have the perceived notion of like, oh, well, they're chickens. You know, they're busy laying eggs and crossing the road, and then you just like drop nukes on them.
More like crossing the universe, bitch.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Why did the chicken cross the universe?
For a really bad punchline.
To fuck you up.
Oh yeah,
There was
That
no
was really
punchline, except
that was
the one
so I was right.
going into your face.
That's good. That's good. This game looks super interesting. Like, there's a lot of really weird-looking mechanics to it.
You're a weird-looking mechanic, and you should also play it. So go check it out. They do have a website, TuesdayQuest.com, but of course you can play it on the Google Store or the App Store, the evil Apple App Store,
That we've decided.
as we've determined. And you know what's not evil? The end of the show.
Tie-in. You got to write the segues out in the show notes.
Oh, that was pre-planned. I'm just kidding. It wasn't.
God, was it really?
These segues are a feature of the show. Thank you.
It's sick.
They're
Different
features.
story.
People come specifically for the.
For the segues?
For the I'm not even kidding about that. Ask Tim Donnelly. When he's not.
Oh, fuck. Like, I'm going to take his opinion. Come on. Like,
What?
that guy's out of his mind. He's crazy.
he I mean, he likes you, man. He thinks you're
I like
hilarious.
him too.
He
but,
fucking-
like,
He's like, IGR is so much better now.
it's sexier. I'll say it's sexier. How about that? welcome.
Well, anyway, if you enjoy Indie Game Riot and you want to help us, please consider going to patreon.com/IndieGameRiot to give us some monthly support there. You're like $5 a month or whatever. But the other way that you can do it, and almost kind of preferred at this point just because everything's just Twitch-based now because YouTube's gone to hell and
Very true.
Patreon is like, they did that thing and now everyone's still kind of upset at them or whatever. But you can subscribe to us on Twitch, especially if you have one of those free Amazon Prime Twitch subscriptions. That doesn't cost you any damn money, but it still supports us. Appreciate it
Okay.
if you choose to do that. You have to do that. You do have to re-up that every month, which why they don't have an automatic renewal for that, don't ask me, but that's how it is. Anyway, thank you for that support. The other ways that you can help us out is by sending us things like news and games and that we should check out, all that sort of stuff,
Sure.
to various things on the internet like Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. And of course,
Or
you can do it the email way, contact@indiegameriot.com.
or the Discord.
And of course, Discord. I should plug that more often because there's
Should.
a
Thriving.
strong community
Warm
of
and
indie game
sultry.
lovers on our Discord server. So that is you can. I mean, the Discord link's in the description below. You can find it all over the place on our website. So, because the link that invite. I wish you could get custom links for Discord. That would be so much easier.
Oh.
No, not that I know of. Yeah. Other thing is that we did not do any Fireside this past Friday because Vance had just gotten off of that game jam, and that particular game was upsetting him. It's not 100% good. I will tell you that, as far as the mechanics go, but still worth a look at. I think, I think Vance agrees as well. Outside of the things that were pissing him off, I believe we're going to. I mean, we didn't confirm it. I did see your message, Vance, that you wanted to maybe do it this Friday, and I think that's okay. I don't think I have anything going on. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll let you know. If not, maybe the next Friday. Either way, we'll get it figured out, and we'll do that as well. In the meantime, Eric.
Yes.
With the first coming up, it is your turn to pick a game. So you might as well get that started so we can have that available and ready.
I'll start brooding.
Brooding?
I'm going to start brooding it right now. Like in a pot.
That's
like
odd.
Three Witches from a Shakespeare play.
Well, that's brewing.
No, it's brooding. Trust me.
Brooding? Okay. I didn't know you were the brooding expert. I thought brooding had something to do with like mating or child rearing. To brood something. Am I wrong?
That also works in this context.
Okay, sure. Anyway, why don't we brew to the end of the show and give your do you have any last words?
Jesus. Not after all that. No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Toodles.